Hello and welcome back to the Only Fools Love Horses YouTube channel. And as you can tell by the thumbnail, I'm going to start again. Thumbnail. Awful. Hello and welcome back to the Only Fools Love Horses YouTube channel. As you can tell by the thumbnail of this video, it's Irish Champions Weekend. 6 Grade 1s over in Ireland, a Grade 1 over in the UK for Haydock with a super sprint. It's a fantastic weekend's action. If you're just looking at the favourites as well, Aidan O'Brien might have a couple of shorties, a couple of other trains as well. We're here to direct you away from them, hopefully, and find you some winners at big price. So make sure to stick through the whole video to see all of our fancies for the weekend. Gentlemen, big weekend over here and over the Irish Sea. Lee, are you excited for Irish Champions Weekend?
Looks a good weekend, and Sunday looks a cracker, especially. One's at Leopardstown, then it switches to the Curragh on Sunday, and then, of course, we've got the Haydock Super Sprint, the Group 1. So, yeah, be a good weekend.
Oh, it's absolutely cracking. There's all-weather group action as well, and there's Ascot with a nice handicap. There's Haydock, there's the Curragh, there's Leopardstown. Harry, that must be, you must be smiling until the weekend. That smile won't be able to come off your face.
Look, I'm smiling, but I'll be grinning as soon as October comes around and Chepstow returns, because at this current moment in time, this flat season is just up and down. I mean, we had today, as we record, we had a William Haggis shot that was turned over at 1-25. The joint shortest price since God knows how long. Ash, you'll know more about that than me. But no,
1948. I think it's 1948.
Yeah, so it's just ridiculous, isn't it? But no, this weekend we've got the return of Shaquille, the one of the most exciting prospects in the city of Troy. So it should be a brilliant weekend of racing from over this side of the Irish Sea and over at Leopardstown and the Curragh.
I can't believe you've just mentioned the jumps before even the ledger. I can't believe that. That's almost punishable by a trip to Her Majesty's, His Majesty's. I can't even believe it. That's poor from you. That's poor from you. No, but we have got cracking jumps action. Sorry, flat action to get stuck into. Even Harry's getting into it now. It's contagious.
Your mind is going.
It's contagious.
Your mind is going. Good.
My mind's already on Chepstow. No, it's some fantastic flat action, and we're going to start over in Ireland with no review of the action gone. We're going straight into the preview. We've got plenty of races to get stuck into. The Group 1 Matron Stakes on the Saturday is the first Group 1 over at Leopardstown. And topping the market is the return of Tahira, not seen since her win at Royal Ascot back in June. She's the 10-11 favourite for Dermot Weld. Meditate 10-1 for Aidan O'Brien. Zarinsk in there at 10s. Homeless Songs 12s. Just Beautiful, the same price. I'll go Lee first of all. Matron Stakes. Tahira, good horse, obviously. She's been fantastic this season. Will she get her season back to where it was in the Matron?
I think it's going to be hard to turn that over, Ash. She won the Moyglare on this weekend last season. She's kind of carried all before her. I know she was just touched off in a Guineas, an English Guineas, went and took the Irish version. She beat Meditate in that process and then went on the Coronation Stakes at Royal Ascot. Won that well enough. Yeah, look, it's going to be hard to beat her. She's already beat Meditate 4 times in a short career. It's going to be hard for Meditate to turn the tables. Meditate's second in there, but maybe that's just a Aidan O'Brien thing. They don't want to give too big of a price maybe for Meditate. Zarinsk is a third in. I think Zarinsk has got to step up to the table. It's got to bridge that gap from up to Group 1 level. And one maybe's at a price, Homeless Songs, the other Dermot Weld horse, former Guineas winner, come back and was just touched off by Buckaroo, I think was, of Joseph O'Brien's. I think she can come on for the run, and I think she's probably the each-way play, but I just think Tahira's going to be so hard to beat, freshened up. Yeah, I think she'll take it. So Tahira for the win and an each-way play on Homeless Songs.
Yeah, I think I agree with you in both aspects, really. Tahira, I'm sort of, on as like this horse should win kind of thing. And I thought the each way angle into it. at 12-1 was Homeless Songs. I thought she was, like she's been a bit disappointing the 2 runs the back end of last season when she had that sort of time off, but she obviously maybe wasn't right or wasn't perfect. And then obviously, stopped her season after her disappointment over at Newmarket in the Sun Chariot. But she's come back this season. Again, she hasn't run since April, but she was beaten by Buckaroo, who is a very good horse for Joseph O'Brien. That horse went and finished a neck behind Ammart in a Group 1 next time out, and then finished third at Royal Ascot. And I know Joseph O'Brien and the team around him think quite highly of this horse. And so, Homeless Songs, I think, is an interesting each way angle into this for sure. But Harry, you've got an even interestinger way into this, if that's even a word, more interesting into this at a bigger price.
It's definitely not a word, but I echo everything that Lee has said there regarding Tahira. I mean, she's so versatile ground-wise. She was second, obviously, in the Guineas on soft ground when it was an absolute bog at Newmarket. Only touched off by Maud, who I'm pretty sure will be seen at the Champions Day. I think I'm right in saying that. But then, like I said, Tahira will be tough to beat. But there is one at a massive price that only ran 2 days ago at Tipperary, and it's Clever and Cool for Jim Bolger. Now, owned by the Bolgers themselves. This horse beat Matilda Picotte, who is a decent horse for Kieran Cotter. And do you know what? This horse has a few quirks, I should say. Always falls out the stalls, and against this type of class, it's never going to be easy. But I'm sure there's a big pot in her. I mean, she's run 16 times in her career. 12 of those have been in stakes races. She's finished behind the likes of Tenebrism. That was back at the start of this year. She beat Tarawa. Obviously the Dermot Well filly. She destroyed her, fell out the stalls and still won by 7 lengths. That was at a massive price at 20-1. And then obviously last time out, she won the Group 3 at Tipperary. So I could really see a big case for Clever and Cool here. She did get cut down to around 12s in the immediate aftermath of winning at Tipperary. So she bounced back after a few days before she flopped at the Curragh. That was over 10 furlongs, dropped down to 7 at Cork 5 days later, and then that's obviously when she beat Tarawa by 7 lengths. So Clever and Cool for me, I think at 33-1, it's definitely worth a few quid each way.
Just on Clever and Cool, she's raced 4 times since August 13th. She's obviously a filly that takes her races quite well, and she may have only raced sort of 2 days ago as we talk on the Tuesday evening, but she also takes her races quite well. So if she's in bouncing form, it wouldn't be a small case to say she might go to this race. So 33-1 about her could be quite interesting, Harry.
Well,
sure.
I mean, people will say that she flopped. Obviously, on a penultimate start, that was a race after she beat Tarawa by 7 lengths, but it was in the Irish Cambridgeshire. I mean, she was carrying a load of weight for a 3-year-old. That's always going to be a tough ass to do. Again, she fell out the stalls, and she just kept on. And you look at the bare face of it; she finished 10th of 22nd of 22, and it doesn't look that great, but that doesn't tell the full story. And I think there is a big pot in her, and she doesn't have that much to find on some of these in here. Obviously, the likes of Tahira.
Is she not a look to step up to a Group 1 against Tahira? That's probably why she's 33s now.
Yeah, I completely agree. And Tahira is priced up at 10-11 for the exact reason that what she's shown. And on the bare face of it, she should win. But if you're looking for an angle, you've got some of these in here that are rated in the mid 110s and 105s and stuff like that. I think Clever and Cool is a better horse than her rating is showing, and I think she's definitely the one that's overpriced in this.
Yeah, interesting horse at a big price. We'll move on to the Irish Champion Stakes, the Group 1, the over Group 1 on the Saturday. Now, this is a very, very interesting race, gentlemen. Over 1 mile 2, King of Steel, 9-4, top in the market. August Rodin, obviously, the last time they faced up against each other, when they faced up against each other in the Derby, August Rodin got the better of him. Then August Rodin's disappointed since, and King of Steel was obviously third when they last met in the King George. Alflalia 7-1 for Owen Burrows, massive improver this season. Nashwa, big run behind Mossadaf last time out on the Juddmonte International, 7s. Ernesto second in this race, 7s as well. Arifa second to Ace Impact last time out, 15-2. Luxembourg won the race last year, 10-1. It's a deep race, Harry. first say goes over to you. What do you fancy?
Al Reefer for me. Now I've been an August Rodin fan basically his whole career. But that was a bad run at Ascot last time out, and the race at the Curragh probably took a little bit more out of him than Aidan thought. And I know he's had a break since, but he's got to be classy to turn over the form of King of Steel, because that horse is just improving. But Al Reefer for me, bumping into Ace Impact last time, who was only 80% fit. I understand that, but Christophe Soumillon was looking for Christian Demura the whole way round at Deauville last time out. And I think, in my honest opinion, if he rode his race and turned it into more of a stamina test, because Al Reefer was getting going again at the line after being headed by Ace Impact, finished 3/4 length second. I think that's the best form in here. I mean, we've seen what Ace Impact's already been up to this year. One of the favourites for the Arc. And yeah, I could see a big one for Joseph O'Brien. Bearing in mind, at the start of this year, he was tipping Al Reefer to be his basically his leading hope for the season, to be his flagship horse. And I think they'd have been a little bit disappointing that he hasn't really shown it. He was disappointed at the Curragh on seasonal debut, but he's only had 2 runs this year, and he could have any amount of improvement in him.
Definitely, yeah. He was sort of one lined up for the Guineas and going forward. You know, these classic events this season, and he's just had a bit. He's had a bit away from him. You know, like he was disappointing when he was on seasonal reappearance at the Curragh, but then he's put a massive run in there to finish second to Ace Impact. So he must have a strong chance. Lee, yourself, what might you fancy in the Irish champion?
I've wrote down 2. I have backed Al Reefer. I did have a few quids. I haven't backed my main hope yet, actually, to be honest. But I have backed Al Reefer just because I thought the price was wrong. Just the same as Harry, you know. I thought Luck needed the run first day. I thought the winner just got away and had the run of the race. Had to chase. Didn't get into a barging match to try and close that gap because the bird had already flown. And then the last day to be second behind Ace Impact. I actually messaged Harry, I remember, and I say Al Reefer is probably the one to take out of that race. I wasn't so blown away by that run from Ace Impact as many of Twitter and stuff like that. But I thought Al Reefer stayed on really well at the line and hopefully can come on again. So Al Reefer has won. And Ernesto as well, I thought had a good chance, especially at the prices. I thought they were big price. I think were like 10s and 11s that they've been well backed in. Someone actually messages saying, what do I fancy for the race? I said them too. They says, you're just copying Ruby Walsh. Someone says, I'm definitely not copying him. He's not a judge I'd copy on the flat, I would have said. But look, them are just the 2 I fancy. It's half a length beat behind Luxembourg. Ernesto in this race last season, so only has half a length to find it in the win part for that. And then behind Inspiral in the pre-Jack Lamar, I thought was a cracking run because I thought that was a good race. Only beaten 3.5 lengths, but that was over the mile. I think the step up to 1-2 back to that trip will suit Ernesto, and I think them 2 against King of Steel, which I think is a very short price, means. Look, he can go and win it, but I think it's a very short price. And Auguste Rodin, look, we don't know the full extent of what happened the last day in the King George, but has to really turn that around. I would forgive that run because
it wasn't him, was it? I mean, from an early stage.
That's exactly right. It wasn't him, and you can forgive that run. You can always forgive one run, a bad run, I would have said, for a horse. But yeah, it has to turn that round. And King of Steel, I think, is short. So yeah, Ernesto and Al Reefer are the 2 against the field for me.
Do you think, just a question to you both, lads, do you think the market will stay put? Do you think King of Steel will go off favourite? Will the lads get stuck into Augusta Rodin as they have done? I mean, they got stuck into him at the for the Derby. So the money comes pouring in again is a question to remain.
I don't think they could get stuck in this type of race. I would have said after that disappointing run, it would be hard to put your money down against it, and they're not stupid with their money.
Yeah,
I agree. I'd say I don't think they'll be getting stuck into it as much as sort of they were in his previous runs this season. You know, like he was quite well backed last time out in the King George, and he was obviously he was well backed for the Derby. But this is the thing. I was on course at Epsom, and I was looking at the bookies. Like you got all these horses like Military Order. This is before Military Order's like been disappointing since, but Military Order was coming into it as a sort of like red hot sort of horse for Godolphin, 9-2. Arrest went off favourite 4-1. Auguste Rodin 9-2. You would just think, I was stood there thinking, surely Connections of one of these horses must think, right, this thing is the winner, kind of thing, and back it into sort of 7-2. But no one actually did get that stuck in, I thought. So maybe they haven't been getting stuck in, but obviously you fancied it last time out, send it off Fav for a very hot renewal of the King George. I'm willing to take on the 3-year-olds in this. I've been, apart from Paddington, I've been a little bit disappointed with the 3-year-olds this season. I just think when they've been stepping up into sort of open class company, they've been beaten by these established Group 1 horses. And on the similar form line to Lee, I'm with Luxembourg, who obviously beat Ernesto last season. I think he's been a very solid horse, Aidan O'Brien. And look, hopefully he goes. Obviously, they're sending Auguste Rodin there, so they might send him for another day. But I don't see why they wouldn't send to this race. It seems like this has been a little bit of a plan. Like he won start of the season after his sort of disappointing run at the Curragh on soft, but he won on good ground, beating Baybridge at the Curragh in the Tats Gold Cup, beating Baybridge, Pisbadil, Bedini was back there in 5th, Lafayette, who's won since as well. Then was second to Mostaff at Royal Ascot. Again, decent form, like Adyar in 3rd, My Prospero back in 4th, Baybridge back in 5th. And even last year, beating Ernesto by half a length was always doing enough and sort of like led and got to the front late on, then was going away. Verdini was back in 3rd, then gone and finished 2nd in an arc. Mishriff as well, Stone Age, Alenker, all very good horses. And I thought he did really well. And, like he's a versatile horse ground-wise. He can do it at soft ground, do it on good ground. I think he's just the one that's being missed in the market for last year's winner. So the prices, I think it's a hot race, but at the prices, I think Luxembourg 10-1.
Will he lead Ash?
Yeah, I think he can. Like he did it when he beat Baybridge. At Ascot, I think he did something similar, didn't he? Or he did go from the front, but he was a little bit sort of up against another horse. But I think he can, and I think he will. And look, if he goes from the front and sets it up for Auguste Rodin, then all right, fair enough. You can count your losing docket. But like he wasn't at the front in the King George. I think he can go from the front, and if he does, I wouldn't be too put off by him. I think he's established Group 1 horse, and yeah,
not some TriCast.
What the one that's scrolling? Yeah, that would be.
Yeah,
that would be.
What about so because National has been put in, but will Baybridge go? I was unsure about that.
Baybridge is I think we'll be going to Kempton at the weekend. September Stakes. So that just shows the form of the Luxembourg's win in the Curragh and the 28th of May is utter shite. How can you go for a Tats Gold?
He's going to arc second by 9 lengths.
Well, listen, if the Tats Gold Cup second is now running in the September Stakes in a Group 3, that is absolutely dire.
A race won by, if I'm correct in saying this, the John and Fady Golston horse that goes over to the Dubai World Cup and wins every time. Lord North. That's right. I'm right in saying that. Lord North goes there, doesn't he? Or does he go to the Winter? He goes to the Winter Derby.
The Winter Derby normally. I don't know if I can't remember if he's won in September.
Listen,
look, Harry, that's a hot race. The September. It's a hot race.
But it's just that group, the Tats Gold Cup this year. The form is just not good. It just simply isn't. It isn't compared.
That's the main focus of Ash's point, though. So I think he's got plenty of form lines in Luxembourg.
And he's kicked Pisbadil out of the way by 6 lengths. Like that's a decent horse in his own right, finishing second in an Irish derby, and it was a bit disappointing in the Epsom derby, but was beating horses like Buckaroo as a 2-year-old and stuff like that. Like Pisbadil's a decent horse. He kicked that out of the way.
Listen, we can move on, but Baybridge just from now on, this is not a Group 1 horse.
We'll move because that's 1-0 Ash. We'll take a plane back over to Haydock for the Super Sprint. A good day in British racing, I think, on Saturday. I think there's some really, really good horses out. And the Super Sprint 6 furlongs topping the market is the return of Shaquille, Been an absolutely fantastic horse this for connections as Evan's favourite. James Dore back in the saddle, having last been on him for the Carnarvon Stakes victory. Kinross 8-1, probably won't go. Spycatcher 10s, Millstream 11s, Sacred 14s, St. Lawrence in there at 14s as well, believing the other supplemented horse at 16s. I'm going to go over to Lee first of all. Shaquille, plain and simple.
Yes, I'll just keep it simple. I thought fairly bolted up the last day, to be honest, in Newmarket. Won well enough after being left in the traps at the Royal Ascot in the Commonwealth Cup. And then, yeah, I just thought solid run. I can't see many getting into it, to be honest. And I'm just going to keep it simple. Shaquille wins.
I believe, Harry, you're of the same opinion here. Shaquille wins.
Well, I am simply the only person that can get Shaquille beat. So,
God.
So that is it. But
hold your bets, everybody, Harry.
Yeah, hold fire. But James Dore's back on, which is interesting. Obviously, Ross O'Ryan took the ride last time out. Ross O'Ryan actually takes the ride of Lazou, who gave Andrea Zini his last stakes winner, I want to say, over in England. So, I mean, Lazou might be interesting, and Ross O'Ryan might just want to prove Judy Camacho a little bit. Well, just give us something to think about. So, Shaquille for me, he's just classy. He's one of the best 3-year-olds I think we've seen in a long time.
Yeah, no, look, I am a very, very big fan of Shaquille. I've said it all season since the Carnarvon Stakes victory. I said it all season. Absolutely love the horse.
Brace yourselves ladies and gents.
Brace yourselves. No, because because if Shaquille goes and wins, and I've got a losing docket in my hand, I am not an unhappy man, because I genuinely love the horse, and he's just a character, and this game needs characters. But I'm going back to the well. I'm going back to Cardem. He struck at Royal Ascot at sort of 80-1. It's a bit of a surprise to me, and a bit of a surprise to everyone, although I did think he was going to run a big race, obviously. And look, I think there's excuses for his last 2 runs. When behind Shaquille in the July Cup, good soft ground, first of all, would have been against him. Charlie Hills has said for a long time, just needs quick ground, and they only supplemented him for the race, thinking it was going to be good ground, and the rain came down. It's good to soft. But go and have a look at that run again. He gets absolutely stuck in the worst traffic you can see for a 6 furlong race. Finally gets out and staying on at the line. Like the horse that's really sprinting to catch up Shaquille is Cardem. Then his run at York last time out, over 5 furlongs. Again, I don't think he's a 5 furlong horse in the None Fort, but was a good runner again. Like he came from the rear of the field under Jamie Spencer as per, and made places up, but just wasn't getting to some very, very quick horses. Living the Dreams, a horse I think is quite smart, having seen that performance. And I just think this race could set up for him a little bit. Like I have in my head that they've been doing stalls practice with Shaquille. So he's going to sort of go. And if you remember the July Cup,
Gary Witherford, isn't it?
Yeah. So they've been
doing what they're going to do is they're going to leave the rug on and then whip it off just before he comes out.
Yeah.
Instead of leaving it
they have the rug.
It's just a recipe, isn't it? It's just an absolute recipe for disaster.
I think it's a good, look, why keep to the same stuff that's not working? Just try that different thing, and he's the man to do it. That's Gary Witherford. So I think it's good. It's good to get that little quicker head start, but he's been winning all before him either way. So.
Yeah, but I have in my head that could set it up for Cardem a little bit. Go back to his Carnarvon Stakes victory. He pretty much he made all from that race again. Like that was a race where he didn't sort of rear up in the stalls, and he made all and he went away. And like in the best will of the world, you say connections like if the rug works and the stalls practice working, he goes, and you sort of remember Ross O'Ryan. He couldn't hold Shaquille back. He's going to go, and he's going to be prominent. He's going to be quick from the front. So is, I think, Swing Along, who was from the front last time out and winning at York in a Group 3, the Summer Stakes. And that could just set it up beautifully for Cardem. Remember Royal Ascot. Everyone thinks Sacred's going to win. Then there's Jamie Spencer with a double-hander on him, just weaving his way through like a motorcycle through traffic. And then he asked to go, and Cardem went with him. And I think it's going to set up for him. Look, I want to see Shaquille win with half of my heart, but the other half is with Cardem because it's another horse I absolutely love. And I think 25-1 is a big price for a horse who has excuses for his last 2 runs. So
I feel bad for connections of the likes of Brave Nation for Michael Bell, and who was given £3 to Shaquille back at the start of this season off a mark of 94.
Well
hard
and truly
luck.
run into one there.
Yeah, the definition of running into one. But no, fair. It's such a good story, and it's we want to see the Shaqmobile back in the winners' enclosure.
We want to see Big Shaq back in there, and he's a lovely horse, but one to take on potentially. The Flying Five, gentlemen. We'll go over to Sunday for the second day of the Irish Champions weekend, and it's over at the Curragh. And the first Group 1 of the day over there is the Flying Five Stakes. Obviously, 5 furlongs. Highfield Princess topping the market, 13-8, having been beaten in the Nunthorpe Stakes by Big Price Living the Dream. Bradsell again was third in the Nunthorpe, beaten by Living the Dream and Highfield Princess, 3-1. Art Power just absolutely loves the Curragh, 5-1. Azure Blue 10s, Equilateral 14s for Charlie Hill, same connections for the Hayes as my previously mentioned Cardem. I'll go over to Harry. Is there anything you fancy in the Flying Five?
Bar the first 4, I think this is a pretty ordinary race. I think Highfield Princess at 13-8 is a gift, in my opinion. Art Power, we know. Now, I love Art Power to bits, and I just think he's a cracking horse. But at this Group 1 level, can he compete against the likes of Highfield Princess? I don't think he can. I think 5-1 is skinny, whereas I think 13-8 Highfield Princess is. I think that's a crack of a price. I think this horse will go off odds on. I mean, John Quinn's done such a good job with this 6-year-old, and it'd be good to see her finally bow out. I think is this going to be her last season? I'm guessing so.
I think so, probably.
Yeah, and obviously she won the race last year. She's accumulated over 1.6 million in prize money. More than any in this field. And obviously she was turned over by Bradsell, but then they reversed the form at York last time when they gave Living the Dream a freebie, and Sean Curran rode them to sleep. But Highfield Princess is a price and a half at 13-8, my friend.
Do you agree with that, Lee? Price and a half?
I don't agree with that statement. I do think she's the most likeliest winner. I think Bradsell will get a lot closer, and look, for me, I just think she's already taken this race and she bolted up in it as well last season. This will probably be a stepping stone to maybe it's a trip to the Breeders' Cup or even the Abbey, I'm unsure. But I just think this is a good race for her. I wouldn't have it as clear cut as Harry. She would be my selection, but I wouldn't be getting stuck in because I do think, Bradsell is a big danger.
Yeah, he is for sure. He's been quite a decent horse in this company this season.
We can say he's found his mojo, hasn't he, Bradsell? Again, I thought he was gone.
Right.
I thought he was gone at the game. I mean, I think
you're quick to write people off, mate.
No, I really did. I mean, the Haydock run was bad, and
look, you've got to forgive them type of runs, like everything behind Little Big Bear, apart from should have been a ring, wasn't it? I think it was second. Everything behind kind of couldn't get into it. So you've got to just wipe them type of races off for me.
But then you're finishing behind the likes of Cold Case at the start of the season. You're just thinking, this horse should really be winning that.
That was first time up. But even then, a bad horse.
But even then, a horse of Bradsell's quality, Royal Ascot winner at 2, that horse should have been winning that. Listen, I'm glad to see him back. It spices things up for sure, but it just boosts the price out of Highfield Princess, so it means I can get stuck in.
The gone at the game Bradsell is pushing the price.
He's not gone at the game. That's not what I said.
You said he was, wasn't he?
In my opinion, he was going that way.
He was, and now he's back.
Yeah, he's got his mojo.
The Terminator.
I'm going to take on. I'm going to take on all of the top of the market. I kind of agree with Harry. It's not a vintage renewal. And if you go past the top sort of 3, you can maybe make a case for a couple. And I was initially drawn to Go Atletico because it's a horse I backed last time out and sort of ran into Moss Tucker, who's I think is a fairly decent horse. And look, the return back to 5 for Go Atletico, decent ground. That should really suit for Adrian McGuinness's 5-year-old there. But I'm going for a different 5-year-old, a horse that actually beat Go Atletico back in, I think, August 2022, and that's Boutamont. Now, this horse was first drawn onto my radar when Kevin Blake put up a video for I think it's Golden, his breeding operation, Golden Farms, and they're doing, I think Boutamont's going to be their stallion or their sire for next season. This is his final season, and so I was a bit drawn to it there, and then I saw the entry come in, and I saw it a little bit. And 16-1, I think, is quite big for a horse who absolutely sleuzed up at Chantilly 2 starts ago in a listed race. Like, maybe he's not beating the best in the world, but I think he won it really, really nicely. Very, very good under Christian Soumillon. A decent performance. Then went up to 6 furlongs, soft ground, was a bit disappointing last time out. I could forgive him that run. I think he's quite a versatile horse. I think back down to 5, any decent ground should be all right. And I give Boutamont a chance at a 16-1. I think that's maybe the one that's being slightly forgotten at the prices. It's drifted out as well from initial opening of 10s. So, yeah, I with Boutamont there, but it's going to be quite difficult, I think, with the top of the market for sure. The Group 1 Moyglare Stakes, gentlemen, is also on the Sunday, Irish Champions weekend at the Curragh. As my racing post slowly loads up, 7 furlong race, but it's Ylang topping the market 5 to 4. Vespertilio 6 to 1. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Dashing assistance on my pronunciation. Porta Fortuna 7s, Fallen Angel 8s, Opera Singer 8s. Bigger price about the rest. Lee, what do you fancy?
Yeah, look, I think Ylang is the one to beat. I think she was very impressive in her 2 runs. Vespertilio did get a lot closer the last day. She went on and took a race after that. So it was close at the line, but I think she always held Vespertilio. Porta Fortuna, Royal Ascot winner, ran second, wasn't it? I think in a group race the last day. But I think it's between the 2 who have already met. So Ylang, I would take to beat Vespertilio, I would have said.
Nice little potential forecast there. Harry, do you see it playing out similar? Is it Ylang the one to be with?
I think it is, and I think from a punting side of view as well, Ylang was 4s on to beat the field at Leopardstown last time out. Vespertilio was 20s. Obviously, Vespertilio came out and won, but Ylang's had that break in between. Got an extra 20 days break on her. So you think if Ylang was 4s on to win that race and beat Vespertilio pretty comfortably, you're getting 5 to 4 basically. If you're going off what Lee said, and I completely agree, Vespertilio looks the main danger in this. I think 5 to 4 is another great price. I think.
Are you not with Porta Fortuna?
I don't think she'll go.
Okay.
I don't. I think. I mean, drift.
Why not?
I just don't. I don't think she would go. There's no real reason. It was a hard race, I thought, behind Buccaneer Fuerte last time, and it's less than a month. She's taken at least a month from her runs this year. I just think that she won't go, and I think she was installed around 3 to 1 when first price is shown. She's 7 to 1 now. I think those vibes aren't very strong.
Indicator.
However, if she was to go, she won't be a 7 to 1 shot, and she's definitely got, in my opinion, better credentials on paper than Vespertilio has.
She's the form in the race, but it's just what the other 2 have is potential.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we'll get onto it in the next race that we're going to cover.
Isn't it?
But, I mean, the form lines are there. It's pretty strong. And she lost nothing in defeat behind Buccaneer Fuerte at all. She was on the wrong side of the track for one. And she was very game. For a filly to do that, I thought it was a massive effort.
Yeah, I hope she does go, because I think she's massively the wrong price there. At 7 to 1.
She won't be 7 to 1.
Yeah, she's definitely the overpriced.
And I'm just reading through Twitter now. The last update there was about Porta Fortuna was back on August 14th when trainer Donica O'Brien was saying that the Moyglare Stud Stakes is under consideration. So she's not, they weren't 100% sure. But there's a good chance we'll look at the Moyglare and train towards that. We also have the option of the Cheveley Park after as well. So obviously she's not a guaranteed certainty to go there, but I'd be hopeful that they do. she looks like a horse who could benefit potentially from 7 furlongs. And she's definitely the form horse there. So at 7-1, I think that's the wrong price. And if you're happy taking a chance on her going at that price, I'd be interested. But for me, what I'm going to take on at a price is the Ammo Racing horse in here at 16-1, Ornelia, winner at Glorious Goodwood in that maiden fillies on soft ground over 7. I think she's potentially a very good one, and there's plenty of potential for her to keep progressing. I thought she was unlucky last time out when beaten by just over a length on heavy ground at Deauville in a Group 2 on over 7 furlongs. Was sort of made a bit to do the donkey work under Kevin Stott, had to take it up within the first furlong, went from the front and was just picked off late on and stuck on for a little bit of pressure as well. Like, she wants to have that little toe into the race and then go again, then go past horses. And I think she'll get that this time round. They've chucked in, Ammo Racing have chucked in Launch, who did a fantastic job of being a pacemaker for Bucanero Fuerte last time out. So they've obviously had the choice of either going Bucanero Fuerte for the race after, or bringing Launch in for the Moyglare, and they obviously want a bit of pace, and they're going to get it with Launch in there. So I think Ornelia 16-1. It's a horse that Kevin Stott, I know, likes a lot. I remember doing his blog for William Hill, and he was saying that's his best chance of the week at Glorious Goodwood when she won. So I think 16-1 is a bit of a wrong price about her. So I'll be taking them on. Ylang. I'll be taking on those horses. I'll be interested if Port Fortuna goes.
I was gonna. Do you ever think, like, if it was my dad? So if I was Donica and I'd ring Aidan up and I'd say, "Look, Dad, I'm wasting a bullet here." Do you know what I mean? Like, do you ever think that they've got this? Because they often pitch each other together. Is it more of a case they've got nowhere else to go? That's the right race for their horse. Like, I'd be ringing saying, "Am I wasting a shot here?" Do you know what I mean? Like.
But then it comes down to the season itself. I mean, how many opportunities are there for these sorts of fillies?
For a Group 1, yeah.
Exactly.
Maybe it's just a case of you've got to take a chance. But I'd definitely be ringing up saying, "What's the crack?"
I think in Donica's case, and the same with Joseph, he doesn't have that many as many bullets as his dad to fire, so he's got to make these short. Whereas Ylang, I mean, that horse made a debut in the end of June. I mean, we were seeing horses at the end of April and May getting primed for Royal Ascot. Yeah. Some of these horses, I mean, Ylang, if I'm right in saying, excuse my dog that's barking, hasn't she got these? Doesn't she have like a ridiculous price tag? Or
I think she's a big price. She was bought, I think, for quite a lot. I can quickly fire it up now. I think so into the millions.
I think it is one of those I think it was 1.5 million or 2.5 million.
1.5 mil, yeah.
1.5. So it's
like you say, Harry, maybe it's a case of, if she had a chance at Royal Ascot, it just happens to be the way the season's worked out. If she had a chance, she might have won the was it the Albany? I think was.
Yeah. I think with Porta Fortuna, the issue is that there's not too many Group 1s over 7, and if they want to have a little look at Porta Fortuna potentially for classic potentials next season or going up to a mile, it's either sort of going to the Cheveley Park over 6 or going to the Fillies Mile over a mile. So I think for Porta Fortuna, 7 furlongs Group 1 is kind of where they want to be, and they just might take a chance and see how it goes. We'll move on, gentlemen. 2 more Group 1s to go from Irish Champions Weekend. The National Stakes is the next one we'll cover directly after the Moyglare at 4:00 on Sunday. And it's a very, very interesting race. 7 furlongs, City of Troy, who has been the big talking horse all season as the 2-year-olds go. 4-7 for Aidan O'Brien. Bucanero Fuerte, as we mentioned, beat Porta Fortuna last time out over 6 at the Curragh. In the Phoenix Stakes, that reappears 11-4. Diego Velasquez is in there 16-1. It's a big price jump up if Diego Velasquez goes. Henry Longfellow 16-1. Formal Display 25s. Gents, this is between the top 2 in the market, I believe. And Harry, which side of the fence do you fall on?
Oh, I'm all in City of Troy. Not a punting wise, but just 4-7. This is just you've got a 5-leg acca from Saturday on 5 teams, and they've all came in. You're waiting on City of Troy on Sunday. It's, in my opinion, I think this is one of the most exciting 2-year-old we've seen this season. I mean, I think just reading the reports after his maiden win, I think Ryan Moore was actually scared when he passed on up because this horse just wouldn't pull up. and there's obviously the wall at the end of the straight at the Curragh, and this horse was just going for it. He just wasn't stopping, and it was the same at Newmarket. And I think Ryan Moore actually timed it perfectly. He started to pull him up probably about a furlong out, just so he could pull up in time at Newmarket. So listen, he's brilliant. Hartem obviously came out and bolted in at Glorious Goodwood. That was a Group 2. Obviously, Bucanero Fuerte 11-4. People, most shrewds on Twitter will be saying, "Oh well, it's a 2-horse race, 11-4." We've already seen a 1-25 shot get beat, so you may as well take this, the other one in the field. It is between these two, Ash. I'll be amazed if anything else gets involved. But yeah, City of Troy. I think he'll win this, and then he'll enhance his credentials for the Guineas and the Derby next year. So,
are you of a similar opinion here, Lee? It's City of Troy to help boost his credentials going forward.
I believe so. I think it's going to be a lot closer. Bucanero 30 flew home the last day. He's got strong form. I think it'll be close, but yeah, it's hard to see past City of Troy. I think so that Diego Velasquez is down to running the 2:15 Leopardstown on Saturday, the male race, the Group 2. So I think he's a really interesting horse, and he'll be a short price to chuck in with these Akas, because he's got 4 white feet, he's got a big white face, but he powered to the line the last day, so he's a really interesting horse to watch. But he's down to run the Group 2, so I think they'll just leave it for City of Troy here. They do also have Henry Longfellow, isn't it, declared as well? But yeah, City of Troy to beat Bucanero 30, and I think I might even take a forecast double with Ylang Ylang to beat Vespertilio.
I think just on this as well, Diego Velasquez, he's another one with a massive price tag, if I'm right in saying.
Yeah, he is.
I think he's even bigger than Ylang Ylang. So I couldn't imagine Aidan would be wanting to waste a bullet when they've got the likes of City of Troy, and Aidan's already tipping this horse up as a potential triple crown horse for next year. So
yeah,
why waste a bullet?
The horse is the one to watch, I really do.
I was taken by that last time.
He was dead to the line. Like, it was just it was a really taken performance last time out. I think he's one to watch on Saturday, by the way. He's definitely
one. He's definitely one that 7 furlongs that'll be his minimum. I mean, anything above that. I mean, Lee,
the mail on Saturday.
He was niggled along, literally, I'd say halfway in his maiden, and he just kept going and going and going. He just got the further he went, the better he was.
He's a beast there.
Yeah.
It's an exciting time for Ballydor, their 2-year-olds, as it is pretty much every year, to be honest. But I hope their excitement will diminish just a small amount, because I think Bucanero Fuerte Bucanero Fuerte is the one. I think he's really, really good.
What price is he at? Sorry.
He's 11-4, and I'm more than happy to back him at that price. I really am, because, like, as I said sort of off camera before we started recording, like Robson Aguiar, who is the right hand man for Ammo Racing, he's sort of saying this horse is the best thing he's ever sat on. He went to the sales the other day and bought like a 300 grand horse, because it looked like what Bucanero Fuerte was showing in the sales ring when he previously bought that a year before. I think this horse is the real deal, and I'd go as far as to say there's better form attached to Bucanero Fuerte than it is to City of Troy. I think beating Porta Fortuna by 4 and all those horses in behind, give me the Beat Boys, who was sold in the London Goss sale for over $1 million, Unquestionable, who was the fancy runner of Aidan O'Brien's, His Majesty, all of them, they were beaten by sort of 4 and 5 lengths by Bucanero Fuerte, but then beating Hartem by 6.5. Like, yes, that's good, but I don't know how strong that race was. And look, you can only beat what you can. But I think genuinely, I'm really excited by Bucanero Fuerte as a horse going forward, and I think he's the real deal. I think he's got the package, and I think he's the one. And look, City of Troy is going to be a big task to overcome, but I think if there's one horse to do it, it's Bucanero Fuerte, from what I've seen this season from the 2-year-olds. So it'll be a clash. I'm really looking forward to this race. Really, really am. But Harry may be quite sweet on City of Troy, but I'm equally as sweet.
Race of the weekend for me.
Fuerte.
Race of the weekend.
Yeah. Yeah, be close. It'd be very close. It's a fantastic weekend. We can keep saying it's a fantastic weekend. Gentlemen, finally, Irish Saint Leisure. We can quickly go through this one, the final Group 1 of the weekend. Emily Dickinson 11-4, Hamish 3-1, Kyprios. Does he turn up again, or does he come back to start his season here? 10-3, won it last year. Eldar off 5s, Dawn Rising 20s. Anyone have a strong opinion on this, Lee?
Well, no, sorry, I was mid floor there. Yeah, I take Eldar off each way. Could have ran in the Yorkshire Cup, wasn't it? I think last week at York. Is already a Saint Ledger winner. I think Kyprios will need the run, and if Eldaroff takes his chance, I think he's going to be a good each way play. I think Kyprios will be too short, and Aidan's already said he'll need the run. Look, he's carried all before me in this in these types of races, but I just think he will need that run and come on for it. So I'll take Eldaroff each way, and maybe he's without the favourite as well.
Harry, you'll be hoping that Kyprios is back to his best, won't you?
Yeah, it looks like all systems are go. I think Aidan revealed earlier this week that he was happy for him to go, and obviously it's been a long time since in between drinks. But I mean, if you look on it, he's won off a 350-day break before. He ran at Lingfield in a listed race where arguably he wasn't the Kyprios as we know, and then he returned at Navan last April, beat Search for a Song, and then that's when he just continued his ridiculous winning streak. So this probably won't be his end term target, even though it's 340 grand to the winner, which is a nice pot to accumulate. But you look at this race and you think, Emily Dickinson, I mean, she's a good horse, but she's finished 4 lengths behind Courage Mon Ami. And obviously Coltrane, Ross Carberry she beat in a Group 2 at the Curragh. At Goodwood, she then finished behind Quickthorn. Hamish needs soft ground. I'll die on a hill for that horse, but he needs soft ground. But Kyprios for me, I'd love to see him win this. Love to see him. I think 10-3.
Do you think it's not just maybe he's a prep and a stepping stone to the? Is it the Prix de Cadran? I think maybe he's in France where he bought it up last year.
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
The thing is that how many horses have a prep at a St. Ledger? It's just usually.
What else would he prep in? That's the problem. Like I just think it's not the case of the long layoff. It's the fact that he was injured and then he has to come back. So I just think it's going to be like they're not going to break his balls in this race. It's just going to be a nice stepping stone onwards.
But what I would say is, how many times have we actually seen him break his balls? He does things in just his second gear. You look at the way he goes through his races. He's so lazy. He just does not care. He's so talented.
Maybe it's this argumentative to say that he's broke his balls. That's what gave him the injury, because he's like that's the Cadran runner. Is it the Cadran? I think off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Same type of runs. They've got to take a lot out of a horse. I'm not saying that's what's caused these delays, but I don't know. I just think he's definitely gonna need the run. He just might be miles better, and might take it easily because he's just so well ahead of them. But I just believe this is going to be his step.
Well, in my opinion, I don't think he has to be at his best to beat this field. That's just my honest opinion.
He doesn't have to be his best, but he's going to have to go some. These are hardy horses still.
I think. I mean, if they wanted to race at Ballydoyle, they could. I mean, the setup there, they could just literally have a. I don't know how long the gallop is, but I'm pretty sure they'll have him match fit for this race.
The race experience of a race day and stuff like that sets them up much better than having them go gallop at home kind of thing. And they know what they're up against back at home, whereas they don't know they're going up against a quality like Hamish and Eldar Eldarov on the track kind of thing. So I think if he goes, it's the obviously correct decision, and like he's just come back from that infection.
There's nothing like going to Brighton with a Tony Cowell horse rather than going up the gallops. Isn't that right, Dan?
Precisely. Everything looks like a world beater at those gallops until you get to Brighton. But look, I'd be with Hamish here. I know, and
Wow.
I remember an interview with Maureen Haggis at the start of the season after his Chester win, saying that he doesn't want that good ground kind of thing. It just jars him up a little bit. And look, if they don't go, they don't go. But I think he's got some really good form here. Like he beat Jack Darcy last time out, who's gone on and won since over in France. For Paul and Oliver Cole. Candleford was back in third, who's gone on one since at Windsor. So I think the form's really, really there. He was second in this race last year on yielding ground. If they're watering at the Curragh and they're making sure it's safe ground, like I think it should be okay for him in a field like this. And I think he's the class act, sort of taking Kyprios out of the picture. I think he's the class act because I'm sort of thinking Kyprios may even not go or may not be to his best. And
I think he'll definitely go.
There's been nothing like recent. The last time was sort of like end of August. There's been nothing sort of like this week as much, and like he might go, but he also might not. And if he does go, I think it's all going to be all systems go for the Cadran. So, Hamish.
I think to be fair though, David Jennings put something out today on the Racing Post. Yeah. So it was literally today saying, I mean, it's been revealed that he is on course to go. So,
no.
Listen, we'll see. Anything can happen in the next few days, can't they?
Yeah. Best of luck to them and to people backing him. Gentlemen, any other bets or naps? So, anything else you want to mention from the weekend, or just a nap, Harry?
I think the Serenia Stakes, I want to say. Array is back out at Kempton. Now that horse should probably take a world of beating. The money came at Glorious Goodwood, didn't it? And Ashee Murphy was a little bit sick, I'd say, getting done a short head.
Sick. Oh.
Yeah, it was. That horse was smashed in. It was punted like it can't lose. And then obviously sent off sixes on to win at Newmarket. Now the horse has got his head in front. He could be a good thing. In the 135, the September Stakes, they did originally have Piledriver in as the 5-4 favourite, but now we know that Piledriver won't be going because he'll be eating grass. Happy retirement, Piledriver. What a legend of the game he's been. Baybridge is not good enough. Isra is probably the one I'd take for John and Thady Gosden.
You can't say it's not good enough.
I just don't rate the horse. I just simply don't rate him. But that's my opinion. We're all entitled to him.
You rated him at the start of the season. You never should have.
Yeah, I did. And money talks, doesn't it?
Sour
money
grapes.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you have a nap for the weekend?
Oh, it's got to be. I think Highfield Princess at 13-8. I think is a gift. I really do. She's a class act. So yeah, Highfield Princess 13-8. Throw it in a double with City Troy. What's that pay? I'll find out for you.
Top of my head, it'd be about 2s, I reckon, or just plus 2s.
Get stuck in because you're basically getting 2-1 on Highfield Princess, aren't you?
Oh, I can't believe it! Incredible, Lee, yourself.
I think Ernesto is the each way player, and maybe he's even Elder off. I think they're good each way players, but I'll take a treble on the shorties. Tahira to win the Matron Stakes, Ylang to win the Moyglare, and I think Diego Velasquez will be short the Saturday. I'm unsure what price he'll be, but stick him in the shorty treble.
That'll be similar price to Harry, I reckon. Maybe just a touch bigger.
Maybe somewhere around it.
I'll go anything else. I'll go that first of all. The Lavazza Stakes over at Ascot, the big Heritage Handicap. Gallant Lion, Tony Carroll Monster is entered. I think hopefully he goes, but he potentially might not. But it's if he goes, I'll be donning my favourite Tony Carroll scarf, hat, and bunting that I have saved for the special occasions. And he's a wonderful horse, Gallant Lion. I thought he was very good last time out, and I'm just hoping for the moon and the stars of this horse, where everyone connected with Gallant Lion. But sentimental stuff away. The nap will be Bucanero Fuerte.
Oh, you are brave.
In the national stakes. I'll be with him. Yeah, I'm sweet, so I can't go away from him there. Gentlemen, been a pleasure. As always, we'll be back 10:30 a.m. Saturday to do the Saturday Live. We'll be going through all the fancies for the ITV racing on Saturday, as well as some of the group action over in Ireland, and we'll talk about the Sunday stuff as well. We don't have any competitions running at the moment, do we? Before I
No, we've
sign
had
this off?
we're winner, and she just received actually her gift from Horse Racing Pins. So she's over the moon with them. So yeah, next competition will be up soon.
Smashing stuff. If you did enjoy, please do like, subscribe. Make sure to follow us all on our social medias as well over on Twitter. They are on screen. There they are. And if you're having a bet this weekend, please do gamble responsibly. See you very, very soon for our next video.
Thank you all.